Hey friends, it is Isaac Hayes bringing you a brand new video, and today we're back with some Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 tips and tricks. This is how to instantly improve your aim, accuracy, and gun skill. Tip number one is going to be about thumbstick discipline. This is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but you want to avoid crashing your thumbstick into your outer plastic housing, if that makes sense. You don't want your thumbstick to just hit the outside rim of your thumbstick and feel like you're capping out. If you're keeping your movements more centered and smooth, it's going to lead to more consistent target tracking. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's something that I notice a lot whenever I'm locked in, aiming very precisely. It's all centered movements. I'm not really crashing into the outer ring. You can sort of think of it as a game of like Operation, where if you touch that outer rim, you'll get shocked, and that'll keep your movements a lot more centered and smooth. Obviously, this doesn't apply if you're doing like a 180 turn on, or if you have to make very big movements with your camera or your movement, you can obviously hit that outer ring. This also leads me into my next tip, which is left stick aiming, your left thumbstick. At long ranges, you want to use your left movement stick to strafe and mirror the opponent's movement a lot of times. Sometimes if you want a counter movement, then that's when you'll pull in your right stick and you'll aim right if you're moving left, or vice versa. But reducing the reliance on the right stick for your fine adjustments while you're using that left thumbstick just to strafe a little bit left and right, to aim a little bit left and right, you can focus your right stick on just recoil control. And you'll notice you win a lot more AR gunfights, especially ripping people off head glitches. So for example, if you're in a power position and you're pre-aiming a popular head glitch that you know the opponent's main AR normally goes to and you're expecting them there, you can just purely focus your right thumbstick on recoil control, and whether they go to the left or to the right a little bit, you use your left stick just a little bit to the left or the right. So since we're talking about movement, the next tip is going to be movement integration. So if you're going left and right, mirroring the opponent's positioning pretty much, it's going to be an easier shot for your opponent as well. So that's mostly good if you think you're going to get first shot and you can just focus on your right stick, just controlling the recoil. But if you think that they're going to get first shot, maybe they're in a better position or something, you want to use your movement to throw them off. So whether that's coming around the corner and cutting the corner, or if you're going left when they're going right, or vice versa, something like that, you're going to use your right stick a lot, but you want to focus on that movement, just doing something totally they wouldn't expect. Like, put yourself in the opponent's position, in their eyes. What do you think that you would expect your character model to do? You want to think about that sometimes before you even take the fight. That way you can do the exact opposite, and a lot of times you will just world start people by throwing them off like that. Since Modern Warfare 4 is just now coming out, as every COD with every year, there's always new movement tricks and tips and little exploits, and maybe new slide cancels, maybe new ledge mechanics, stuff like that. I'll try to make videos on all that stuff because I normally find a lot of movement bugs and glitches. I just normally don't share them. But this year, if I do find any bunny hop glitches or slide glitches or anything like that, I will share them. Just keep an eye out on my shorts and for my videos. This wouldn't be much of a how to improve your aim, accuracy, and gun skill video if I didn't mention centering. So really quick, centering is when your crosshair at all times is perfectly centered to where you expect an opponent to be. If you're running around the map and you're just expecting somebody to pop out at any time, which is what you sort of should expect if you're running around with a sub or something, you want your crosshair just right where you think they're going to be, whether that's on the very edge of every corner that you're coming around, or if it's on a head glitch as soon as you pop around a corner. You want that crosshair ready. That way you just pull the trigger, shoot, and you're immediately getting hit markers as soon as you see the opponent. That's really the main thing, is as soon as an opponent is on your screen, you should be getting hit markers. If you find that your centering is not that good, you might just need to do it mentally for a long time, maybe after a couple days or like a week of just mentally focusing on centering at every moment of every time. You won't really think about it ever again. It's one of those learned habits that is really, really crucial. But if you still are struggling with it, your sensitivity might be a little bit off. A good way to find your ideal sensitivity is something called the Fizzert method, which, rest in peace, Fizzert. He was a Call of Duty pro. He made this method himself. He would go into a private match, put on a bunch of veteran bots. He would turn off his aim assist and he would put it on double health. And then he would run around hip firing the bots. And once you find the sensitivity that you can very precisely track all the bots with your hip fire, that is the sensitivity supposedly that is best for you. That's actually really accurate in my history of testing. I would go even further and say that you should set your aim response curve in game to be linear when you're doing this test, just because it'll be pure stick to thumb movement that you're testing with this Fizzert method. But whenever you're actually playing, a lot of people like the dynamic aim response curve, so that's going to be a huge factor for your aim. Linear is just 1-to-1. Your thumbstick goes a little bit to the right, your aim goes a little bit to the right, vice versa. It's just 1-to-1 your thumb to your movement. The dynamic aim response curve is very popular because up close when you're running an SMG, it's a bit faster, and then at longer ranges when you're just barely moving and you're using your left thumbstick, you're still accurate with that AR. So if you're a flex, a lot of people like to use dynamic. I might get into that in another video with the aim response curve types and the slope scales and all that, because I'm very nerdy and I like to get into all the details with that. I'm actually a linear player, but I've tried dynamic. I understand why people like it. It's really up to you. Since we're sort of talking about controller settings now as well, I'll make another video for all the settings in this game, but the dead zones is something to talk about for sure. You really want the lowest minimum dead zone that you can handle with your controller. If you have a little bit of stick drift, it's still okay, because when you're actively aiming, you're not experiencing that stick drift. That's only when your hand is completely off the controller. So unless you're fighting your stick drift while you're aiming, you want it as low as possible. If you don't feel your dead zone and you don't really think that it's a setting that matters, try raising your dead zone and running around and aiming with that. You'll notice that there's just a complete literal dead zone that you can't micro adjust, you can't aim at all. So you want the minimum dead zone to be as low as possible for your right stick and for your left stick, and you actually want the maximum dead zone for your left stick, your movement stick, to be a little bit lower, around like 60. That way you're moving a lot faster, as we were talking about the movement integration. That's going to make you strafe a little bit faster and throw off the opponent's aim too. So it comes full circle really with the dead zones. So we covered a lot of ground in this video so far with the sensitivity, finding your sensitivity, your thumbstick discipline, not hitting the outer rim of your controller with your thumbstick, your centering, you gotta master centering, and your movement integration too. You gotta have crazy movement in games like this nowadays. Left stick aiming whenever you're mirroring your opponent and you're just micro adjusting with your left stick, especially at longer ranges. And we even talked about some dead zone settings and your aim response curve type. Those are very crucial settings to your aim accuracy and gun skill. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up for this video. If you guys did enjoy, please hit that like, subscribe button. Comment down below if you have any other tips and tricks as well, because maybe you can help me or anybody else that's reading through the comments. There's a ton of tips and tricks in games like this, and I'll make some more videos too. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.